Hello and welcome everybody to kind of a different vintage golf, Talking Golf Tuesday. End of seasons. It's the end of the PGA season, which, means the end of the fantasy golf season. We'll talk about that here at the end. And my father passed. End of seasons. And I want to talk a little bit about that. Happy thoughts. Just want to share, golf content a little bit. I do talk about some golf stuff here. So just buckle up. Real quick, I want to talk about the schedule for this channel. Usually I'm pretty consistent about getting out a vintage golf video every Friday. That's not going to happen for the next little while. It could be a month, it could be 6 months. Just buckle up. You'll see a video pop up here and there, but it won't be every week. I don't apologize for it because there's stuff going on. My father passed, okay? So when you see a little fluctuation, that's why. Now, and the Talking Golf Tuesdays might also disappear here for a while. We'll see if we can get them back up online. But let's talk a little bit about the end of seasons, okay? And happy memories I have as a child. For starters, my dad had this Spock philosophy of logic. Logic precedes everything. Okay, electrical engineer, computer scientist, like he would program, he knew all the electrical stuff. I got my ham radio license when I was in junior high. He was very supportive of that. It was just a very nerdy family. That's how you would describe my family, a very nerdy family. And he never told me that he loved me, all right? And then it wasn't until I was like in my late 20s or 30s where I just overrode all my programming. Just like, I love you, Dad, and I'd give him a hug. And you know how like awkward like nerd hugs are, he would just kind of like, the feeling is mutual, he would say. The feeling is mutual. And I'm holding a Ping Zing putter here. I'll talk about this here in a minute. And he, that was just his style. But to his credit, he was very selfless. Okay. And he's asked me not to show, I got plenty of chances to say goodbye to him. It was a long time coming. We could see it coming. He knew it was coming. And so I said goodbye to him probably 3 times. Okay, so I talked and I told him I wanted to make this video and he said, don't show his picture. He doesn't want a funeral. He doesn't want a lot of attention. But I feel like I want to talk about some memories I have. So, very logical. And along with that, he was also very selfless. When we were in high school, my siblings, he would buy us, he bought 2 cars. This was the late 90s and he bought us a 91 and a 92 Toyota Corolla because they're super reliable. And in the 91, I put in a subwoofer, right? 10-inch sub in the back and, a little, I think it was a Kenwood deck I put, in it. And we had so much fun with that. Like my friends and I remember I was sitting next to my friend Grant and we were, as teenagers do, shouting over the loud music that were blaring. And our friend Dave is in the back seat, right in the middle. And I remember his hands were up on our headrests, and he was just there, and we were like, oh, cool, Dave's listening because he's, involved. He has his hands up and he's leaning forward. And so finally in the conversation, we're like, what do you think, Dave? Where do you think we should eat? Do you want to go to Carl's Jr.? And he's just back there. I'll never forget the look on his face, just like, and we're like, Dave! And he's like, what? He's like, I can't hear what you're saying because the sub was pressed right up against his back seat and just going full throttle. So it was just memories like that cracked me up, and he bought us, the kids, he let us drive, he let us have cars, let us go on our little adventures. He would live a very austere life. He wasn't buying fancy things for himself, he had the same razor, to shave with. It was one of those ones where you insert the razor blade through the razor, and you just push the other one out, and he had those, for his whole life. Because he was saving up so he could take us on trips to Disney World or Disneyland. A very middle-class family. Or buy us these little crappy cars, So I loved that about my dad, just how selfless he was. And fun memories. The other thing was, he would be supportive of us in things that he did not like. And I've told this story before, like golf. He always criticized golf. Golf is a stupid sport. Because you hit the ball, and then you chase the ball. Then you hit the ball and you chase the ball. You hit the ball into the hole, and then you go get the ball out of the hole. The ball always wins. And that to me, that didn't make any sense. I was like, I don't know what you're talking about, Dad. But as a young boy, I wanted a golf set. It was just a plastic golf set, you know, like aluminum shafts, and it had a blue plastic head. I'll see if I can find a picture online. And a blue plastic head, terrible, you know, and I put the ball in the grass and I just kept missing it, okay? I just hit the top of the grass blades. As a little boy, you know, I couldn't hit the golf ball. So I'm like, I hear about golf tees and I see them in the store. Maybe I can tee this up. We didn't have golf tees. Surprise, surprise. So I took little Dixie cups, little paper cups, and I put them upside down in the grass in our side yard. And I put the little hollow plastic ball on top of the upside down Dixie cup, right? And then it would just be sitting there, you know, hovering an inch and a half above the grass. And then I could take swings. I would be missing by like 6 or 7 inches. People watch my swing now and they're like, how on earth are you even hitting the ball? Yeah, same thing when I was a kid, right? It was just like, and then I'd finally hit one, it would just go flying, and with like the little iron they gave me, it'd just go flying way up into the air, and I didn't get it. I'm like, I wanted to go like 200 yards. I didn't know yards. I wanted to go all the way across the street and through the neighbor's yard. This little hollow golf ball. No way on earth that was happening. But with an iron with the loft on it, there was no way that was going to happen. But still, I was just like, that went so high. That was so cool. And I'd take full swings and it would go like 30 feet. It was just fun, okay? And then I ended up breaking that. I think the shaft broke on that one. The wood that came with it, I think the head broke off on the shaft right by the head. The putter I think we had forever. You know, it was just a little $3 plastic golf set, you know, or a 3-piece, like $10 plastic golf set. I don't remember how much it was. It was super cheap. And, you know, he bought that for us, even though he wasn't into golf. I remember when I bought this, I was in college at the end of high school when I bought my first, like, Goodwill, my thrift store set, where, you know, I had my Ping Zing 9-iron, I had the Cobra, I forgot what they're called, sand wedge, and I think I had a Ben Hogan 2-iron. I had some of these forged blades mixed in there. You know, it was just a hodgepodge of clubs. And man, it was fun. And I remember when I brought him home, he's just like, golf. And then he launched into his, you know, the golf ball always wins story tale. And so this is the one that I bought. I remember that. Yeah, and so for somebody who doesn't show emotion very much, like I could count on one hand how many times he's told me he's loved me. And usually I initiate hugs because he's not a hugger. And sometimes I'm surprised, you know, where you're taken aback. You're like, oh, like when we're going through his stuff, you know. I remember in junior high, I took metal shop. Now I do everything, and it was all like power tools. Now I do everything by hand. I have a hand plane. I watch Paul Sellers. If you're interested in woodwork, go check out Paul Sellers. And so now I do everything by hand. I use chisels and hand planes and all of that stuff, and I build furniture. Sparingly when I have time. It's like one of my non-YouTube hobbies. And, you know, so I was in metal shop, wood shop. You guys remember what it was like back in the day in junior high? I don't think they do that anymore. And so in my wood shop, no, it wasn't. It was my metal shop. We were talking about brazing. And I took some sheet metal and I brazed together a little metal pickup truck, just a metal pickup truck. And I never thought twice about it. I'm like, oh, cool. You know, it looked terrible. I just thought, oh, it's not even, but okay, I got credit on it, took it home. My dad kept that. And it was on his nightstand buried underneath a pile of stuff, but like he kept that of all things. He's like, hey, you know, and to me, like he never ever was like, I'm proud of you, son. But to me, that was kind of it. It was like, oh, he does care about me, you know, little moments like that. So that said, it's a different season now. And I already explained, you know, videos will be a little more inconsistent, but stay tuned. We have plenty of content to come. Many of my viewers, I'm sure, have experienced this. And you know how with grieving, it's interesting how, you know, it seems like, oh, just be a day, get over it. No, it hits me, you know, more and more, probably be a little while. So let's, I'm not going to do the whole fantasy golf transition. Let's just talk about fantasy golf real quick. Viktor Hovland won by several strokes. He was holding off, I think it was Xander Schauffele. Is that right? Either way, the PGA Tour, FedEx Cup, playoffs are over. Congratulations to Victor Hovland. And I'm just going to put both lists up, the week winners and the winners for the season. The winners for the season. I think I was on that list as well in the top 10. Didn't do amazing, but I never will again because this league is just going to grow. If you're watching at any time in the future, join the Vintage Golf League on Fantasy PGA. It's just fantasy golf. It's free to play. I'll put a link in the description below. Create an account, click that link, join the league, The Vintage Golfer. And yeah, I really appreciate the support. I really appreciate the support from Poker Chip Forum. Tommy on Poker Chip Forum has been a supporter for a long time of all my endeavors, particularly Poker Chips. If you want to support this channel, we talk about golf on that channel and other things and on that forum. So Poker Chips, golf, whatever you want. And yeah, so I really appreciate Tommy for the support and all my patrons. Thank you so much for your support. It means a lot to me. On that note, you can support this channel by becoming a patron. It's just general support. Occasionally I post a few behind the scenes pictures, photos, videos, and I will I'm talking about my Amazon shop. Another way to support the channel is my Amazon shop. I'll put a link in the description below. I am an Amazon associate. I make proceeds from qualifying purchases. Thank you everybody for watching and your support. I am the Vintage Golfer.